Hi everybody. So this video is intended just to kind of give you an overview of what we're going to do while we read The Little Prince. So this is the Little Prince activity sheet, and pretty much everything you need to know for while we're reading it is right here. I've linked this. I put in a link also to this in Spanish, so if anyone wants to go there, you can too. I'm not going to get into how much I like this book because I think I've done that quite a bit. So let's just go down to the actual assignment. So basically what's going to happen is every Monday, Wednesday, and sometimes Fridays, but generally mainly Monday and Wednesday, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna assign a certain amount of chapters. So it's probably gonna be chunked into 1 to 2 to 3 chapters, sometimes 4, but honestly the chapters are like 1 to 2 pages long. So even if it's 4 chapters, it could be truly 4 pages or 5 pages or 6 pages. So the book itself doesn't have very long chapters. So each day I will assign a group of chapters. You will have to read those chapters and then respond using one of these response choices. And let's just go through them. The first one is called a lesson. There's a lot of lessons in this book. So the question is, what lesson could you have learned or did you learn from this chunk of text that you read today? And you respond to that. You give a quote, you explain. Everything is like a race response, as you can imagine, mainly. The second one is called A Thing of Beauty. There's a lot of beautiful moments in this book. So what is something that struck you as beautiful? Explain it, right? Get into it, explain it. Give the line. The next one is a criticism. Even the greatest books of all time can be criticized for something, right? So you could give a criticism for this chunk of text that we've read for that day. But you got to get into that criticism. Don't just give the criticism and move on. Get into the criticism. The next one is a fortune cookie. So the idea is, back to this fortune cookie idea, is there a line in there? It's kind of like the lesson, but it's a little bit different. So I kind of wanted to put it out there. But if you could put a line from this chunk of text that you read today into a fortune cookie, which one? Explain why you chose that. This one I find interesting. This is a haiku. So a haiku is a Japanese style of poetry with 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, right? It's only 3 lines long, usually used to capture a moment. So based on what you read in that day, could you write a haiku? And don't even explain it, just 3 lines, done. And it doesn't have to be about the entire portion of text. So if you read 3 chapters that day, but there's one little part that really strikes you as haiku worthy, go for it. Number 6 is an emotion evoked. Lots of emotions being called out in this. So identify an emotion that kind of gets called out in this, maybe that you feel, and from the piece, explain, why it's evoked that, give a quote, explain, you know what to do. The last one here is called the Mr. Rogers desk coat. So Mr. Rogers, if you don't know who Mr. Rogers is, just look him up. He's a children's television show host from the past. But his show is still on. He's the creator of Daniel Tiger, actually. Not the show, but the character. In any case, Mr. Rogers had a quote from The Little Prince on his desk. Okay, I'm not going to get into what quote that is. You could look it up, I suppose, but it's kind of fun if you keep it a mystery and try to wonder what it is. But the bottom line is, if you had to put a quote on your desk, what would it be? Kind of similar to the lesson, maybe. Kind of similar to the fortune cookie, maybe. But a little different, because this is a quote that you would potentially see every day for the rest of your life, right? So why would you put this quote on your desk and get into it? Now, if you have another idea for a response, you could always ask me, can I do a response like this? And that's fine. I'm probably going to give like a special response for the week, kind of like you get specials at a restaurant. So I might say, hey, this week's special is this response. And you can choose to do that one if you'd like as well. Also, I'm thinking a lot of you have done really beautiful poetry. So maybe for haiku, if you want to do a haiku, that's fine. But maybe if you just were inspired to write a poem based on a certain portion of the text, you could probably do that too. Just let me know. I'm pretty much okay with that. I really just want you to respond to the text, and then when we come to classes, we can discuss those portions of text. Okay. Then down here, I have some frequently asked questions. Can I repeat response choices? Absolutely. Over the course of the book, do I have to do at least one of each response? No. You could do the same response every time. Honestly, I just want you to respond. You could do the same response choice every time. I just want you to respond. That's what I want. Okay? Can I read ahead? Absolutely. But this, I've never meant this more than I mean it for this. You can read ahead, but make sure you reread that portion before you respond and before class. The reason is this book lends itself to rereading so much. I mean, I've read this book so many times, okay? And it really gets better with each reading. It gets almost different with each reading. It's hard to even say better. Here's a link to the PDF in English. Here's a link to the PDF in Spanish. Here's a link to the audiobook. This actually includes pictures as well, so you don't even need to have the book out or the PDF out for that. Here's the audiobook in Spanish. It does not have pictures, so you probably should read along with your PDF while you are listening to that. Okay, and this is just a source for where I got some information up above. All right, so that's pretty much the overview. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know.